interesting episode of Mindscope. I tell you today, the whole studio is just, everywhere is bubbling. Double O, she's just giving us the great hits. Yes, and DJ Magic, thank you so much. Yes, good afternoon to you, dear listener. It's another beautiful moment. Yes, on Mindscope, I am Segilola, and right here, I am excited. Yes, working with Double O, the fly. Yes, she's always flying, Double O. What really is a secret? You got wings, and those wings are really large, and they are beautiful. Really? Yes.
I think it's just me.
It's just you.
We said something earlier that you need you to win. And then the most important thing in life, a lot of people will say money, some would say family, but if you don't have you, how would you have all that? I don't want to say God, because that's like a general thing everybody will expect you to say, but I think it's more of me. Positive mindset.
Exactly. Yeah. Sound mind.
Yeah, sound mind.
That's good. That's good. Yeah. And that's really what Mindscope it's all about, really. Yes. All right, there is this, I love the good book, yes, and I love it, I study, and there's this scripture I found out really working for me in the book of Proverbs. There's something they had said there, the tongue of the wise uses knowledge rightly, and that's what we learn on Mindscope. It's about, having access to the right information and using it rightly. You must appropriate the knowledge you have. And today on Mindscope, we are looking at a topic that really will push you off your seat. It's actually meant to get you on your feet, not just thinking, but to do. So today's topic is mental health safety measures during COVID-19 era. This COVID-19, this whole episode, more and more people globally are actually embracing the physical safety measures, right? Double O, it has to stay safe. You wear your face masks, social distance, and exactly, wash surfaces and all that. But when it comes to the mental side of it, that's the mental safety measures. These are key. And I found out that a lot of people, yes, they conform, they play safe physically, but the mental state is in a mess. There's trouble there. And today we have, I tell you, it's a great honor and a privilege to have with us a man I will consider a global brand. Yes, he's a global goodwill ambassador, a mental health strategist, an amazing gentleman, really. Yes, a great pleasure to have with us on Mindscope, Mr. Kunle Pelemo. You're welcome, sir.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been a great pleasure since I stepped in here, and I've been flying as well. Yeah, flying like Double O.
Yes, that's good. Everybody flies here. We are high flyers.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome, sir. So, mental health strategist, you are global brand for that matter.
Well, thank you for that.
Congratulations once again. And right now, let's look at the topic. And like I said earlier, we need to lay the foundation. I told you, I found out in the course of my research that there are connections between the physical health and our mental health. Yeah. So can you enlighten us on this?
Okay. Let me first and foremost educate our people on what mental health is. And that will definitely create like the foundation of everything that we're going to talk about in here today.
Okay.
Because most people tend to confuse mental health for lunacy. When you talk about mental health of people, they will tell you when I'm not mad, because that's what they think mental health is all about. I like the way the World Health Organization defines mental health, and I'm going to really define it right now because the definition is all encompassing, and that will create a scope with which everyone should view what mental health is. Now, the World Health Organization defines mental health as a state of well-being whereby an individual realizes his or her potential, can cope with the normal stress of life, can work productively and fruitfully, and can contribute positively to his or her community.
You will need to repeat, please. Yes.
Okay.
Repeat, please.
Let me say it a little bit slowly now.
Okay.
Now, the WHO defines mental health as a state of well-being.
A state of well-being,
in which every individual realizes is or our potentials can cope with the normal stress of life, can work productively and fruitfully, and is able to make contributions to ease or our community.
This is large.
Now, let me break down the definition a little bit before we go further.
Fantastic.
Now, the first thing that you will find out is the fact that your mental health is a state of well-being. So that means you get or you assume that state. It is possible for you to drift off that state, but it is your responsibility to get yourself back to that state. So that doesn't mean that things that will get you off that state will not come. But your ability to get yourself back into that state is what mental health is talking about.
Wow.
So do not beat yourself up when you feel somehow depressed, or when you have your mood swing, when you are having a whole lot of tension on you, you're having anxiety, you're panicking, you are angry, you're sad. I mean, it's peculiar to everybody. It is not. You are not having the monopoly of sadness.
Interesting.
So that tells you that all you need to do is to try as much as possible to get yourself back into that state that you want. I normally use water as an example when I want to just, talk about this definition, in lay terms. Now, water exists in three critical states. You have the liquid, you have the solid, and then you have the gaseous state. And you find out that, somehow each of those states is being determined by the amount of temperature you expose the water to. Now, if the temperature is freezing, that's between 0 degrees backward, that's to minus, then you have the freezing state, which is the solid. And then if it is room temperature, then you have the liquid that you use. And if the temperature gets to the boiling point, what happens? Then the water begins to evaporate, and then you have the gaseous state. The same way your mental health. What you expose your mental health to determines the state that you will attain. It's as simple as that. So in that first definition, it tells us that mental health is a state of well-being. So do not fret when that state drifts. All you need to do is to bring yourself back. And it extends to the fact that in which every individual realizes his or her potential, can cope with the normal stress of life. What that tells you is that stress of life will come. You're still going to experience traffic. Your boss is still going to scream at you. He's still going to shout at you because he wants his money.
So it's not about your location.
It's not about your location.
So you can travel to the UK.
Yes.
And you still
be stressed. You still be exposed. Because your ability to cope with that stress of life is what mental health is talking about.
Okay, when we were having a show before you came on, I was asking people what's the most important thing in life to them. And some would say money. And I told them you could have a lot of money and still be sad and still not be fulfilled and still feel there's something missing.
Absolutely.
And now I still feel depressed.
Absolutely. I mean, you've had a whole lot of people who went ahead to take their lives, and they are rich people. A whole lot of them are celebrities. A whole lot of them are famous. People know them. They have money. They have cars. I was speaking before we came on air, that somebody took his life because of the phobia of old age. Something that's simple. That how am I going to look? Yeah, at the age of maybe 30. How am I going to look when I grow older? And these wrinkles will start coming. I don't want that. And he went ahead, took his life, and before then he wrote a suicide note telling them the reason, and that was the reason. So you find out that it is not a function of whether you have money. It's not a function of your age, your gender, or where you live. That's your geographical location. So it's a global issue, and that's why we need to create conversations around it. And I mean, what we're doing right now is laudable, and that's what we're doing now.
Okay,
now,
so let's connect the physical and the mental health.
Your mental health is comprised of 3 important states. So that is what will take us to how it affects our physical, our physical being. Number 1 is your social state. Number 2 is your emotional state. Number 3 is your psychological state.
Okay.
In other words, it is the way you feel, that's your emotional state, the way you think, your psychological state, and the way you relate with people, that's your social state. And you find out that if anything affects any of those states, there is no how it will not affect your physical being. Now, somehow, if your emotion is down, you find out that there are some things that will be creeping in somehow, and it will affect everything about you, your physical outlook. As a matter of fact, some people even say that it is the way your posture is positioned that determines your emotions sometimes. So if you want to get yourself into a state of positivity, you don't need to just stay and then be cold and you sit down somehow. So when you stand up straight sometime and you walk straight sometime, it changes everything about your emotion, because there is connectivity between your emotions and your physical being. So if anything affects your emotions, if anything affects the way you think, it will affect
now I
your
understand
physical.
My mom, I remember growing up, anytime I'm sick and just in bed for hours. You know, this that statement you made now just reminds me. She always tell me, stand up. You don't need to be in this position.
Exactly.
Change your position.
Exactly. So change your state, change your emotions.
Wow.
Yeah, change your state, change your emotions. So you see those three things. And then, I mean, there is one thing that is happening now, maybe we'll get there, and that is the social state.
Yes.
Because anything that affects your social state also affects your mental health. And that is what we are experiencing in this unprecedented period that the world is going through right now, because we asked to social distance, because we want to stay safe. But as a matter of fact, the way we are wired as human beings, we are created as social beings. There are a lot of things that we have been used to. You gain a lot from hugging people, you gain a lot from handshakes, you gain a lot from socializing with people, going to places. But now we've been denied somehow because of this pandemic. It's so important we do that. It's so important we stay safe. But at the same time, we need to now know how to self-care for ourselves, so that what we are denying ourselves, somehow we will need to make up for it.
Let's go on a short break.
Okay.
Stress free. Live your life and live it stress free. Don't worry. One day we'll surely shine. I'ma say no hurry. Your time will surely come. Can't get out dollar. We want it for paper. Every day, Netflix and chill. It's a holiday. Like it's a holiday.
All right, you're welcome back to Mindscope on Echo 89.7 FM. I'm Segilola, right here working with Double O. Of course, DJ Magic is also here with us. Yes, our dear guest today on Mindscope is Kunle Pelemo, and he's a global goodwill ambassador, an experienced and seasoned mental health strategist. And we're still discussing mental health safety measures during COVID-19 era. Yes, you were talking about the mental health measures now. Let's land on that now as we progress.
Okay, so I was saying that now what we're witnessing now is so unprecedented because of the measures that we need to do in terms of our health. And the same thing, we need to learn how to also do some things to, improve our mental health. Because those things that we're doing in terms of maybe our physical health now, somehow is having effect on our mental health. When you don't go out, when you don't shake hands, when you don't give hugs, I was saying to you before we came on here right now that there's some people that when they give hugs to people, it produces, a feel-good hormone in them.
Very true. Like the Valentine's Day.
Yeah.
For some people,
that's the way it works for them. They need it.
The gift and
maybe we say they need hugs to survive. You understand.
Yes.
But in the right way. So if those things are produced in you, like hormones such as, some of those hormones are. They are stress relieving hormones.
Wow.
Hormones such as serotonin. They cause a feel good in you. Neurotransmitters such as dopamine. When you do that, it relieves you. Your mind, you calm down.
Oh.
And then it reduces the level of cortisol. Cortisol is a stress inducing hormone. And when the level goes down, that means there is a calmness in you that you will feel. But now everybody is alone. Everybody is doing things on his own because we want to stay safe. But, I used to say to people that this time around we write to ourselves after a message that stay safe. But there is something we need to include. Stay sane as well. Because you have a whole lot of things happening right now. And this time around as well, because of the nature of this pandemic, it is not it's not first of its kind. It happened maybe years ago in 1914, but this time is a whole lot different because the ball game of the world has changed. Everywhere is digitalized now. You can have access to unlimited, information everywhere. So you know what is happening in Asia, you know what is happening in Europe, you know what is happening in America and everywhere in the world. Now people are creating fear somehow and everything is getting at you. You are on your Facebook and then you are seeing a whole lot of things happening in several areas that does not even concern you, but then you are heaping the fear on yourself.
And I told you about a friend on our phone. She has about 10 videos showing people who run mad. And I was just telling her, how do you survive? So watching this video.
Yes, and you keep feeding your mind. And at this period, there are two emotions that mess us up a lot. And those emotions are anger and fear. Now, they are not bad emotions per se. But the truth is, the way we make use of them in this unprecedented time is what really makes it bad now. When you begin to get afraid of what is not, all you need to do is to make sure you are safe during this period. But what you are busy doing is now trying as much as possible to see how many people are dying every day, how many people are dying in even places that you've not even been to, or that you might not even step to in your life. So, and all those things create anxiety in you. It affects your mental health. It creates a kind of panic attack in you. It creates
and over
trauma.
time,
and over
depression,
time,
right?
it builds, and the depression might set in. Because depression somehow doesn't just happen overnight. It's a persistent feeling of sadness.
Persistent feeling of sadness.
That people experience for a period of time that they are not able to get out of. And then after that period, then that's when we said that person is depressed. So it's different from mood swing. So if you have been exposing yourself into that kind of sadness for that period of time, it might lead to depression. So that is why it's important that we have, we take cognizance of our mental health.
Can we now,
in this period?
Can you just tell us those mental health?
Some of those things that
some
we
of
need
the
to
measures.
Do. When I want to tell people, I tell them that, in this age right now, sometimes it is not what you don't know that is preventing you from getting to where you need to get to. So it is not what you don't know. We have, information is a dime a dozen right now. But somehow it is what you know that you don't do.
It's what you know that
you don't do. Or what you know that you do, but you don't do well. So some of the things that I'm going to tell you right now are the things that you know. But what I am here to do is to just push you to keep doing those things so well, because it will help you in the long run. Number one thing is the word called mindfulness. Mindfulness is the act of staying in the present. If you want to help your mental health now, just be present. Don't be worried. I wondered how, in 1914, when there was no news, when there was no Facebook, when there was nothing like that, everybody just remained in his country and there was pandemic. Yes, you're just coping with where you are. But now you are bothered about what is happening in the UK. You are bothered about what is happening. You are just thinking about what is not. Remain present. Just stay in the present. Live now. Do you understand? That doesn't mean you are not futuristic. Good. But don't be bothered. Don't be anxious.
Don't carry tomorrow's problem.
Don't carry tomorrow's problem into today. That is what mindfulness is all about. The act of staying in the present. And that's number one. Number two is the word gratitude.
Wow.
When I'm saying these things, they seem so simple. And that is why...
It's so common.
But they're not so common. And that is why when we are creating this kind of conversation, everybody can relate to it. And that's who I am. And that's what has given me, a kind of a game-changing platform in the mental health industry, in the whole wide world. Because the things that you can relate with easily, those are the things that can help you. Gratitude. You just being grateful. That is what definitely, somebody says gratitude is an antidote to anger and fear. Because you can't be grateful and be fearful at the same time. And you can't be grateful and be angry at the same time.
True.
So try and show gratitude the more. Just be grateful for the life that you have. There's pandemic around, there is this around. Stay safe, but be grateful that I'm grateful that I'm living, I'm grateful that I'm alive, I'm grateful that I exist, Be grateful, and then it will definitely relieve your mind and then prevent you from falling into unnecessary tension that you don't deserve. That is two. Another thing now is I'm going to talk about some self-care practices that we need to do. And number one is what I call the OK strategy. And in the OK strategy, I have some lists that I'm going to mention now. The first thing is for you to realize that it is okay not to be okay sometimes. So those times that you don't feel okay, it's not peculiar to you. Everybody feels that way. It is okay not to be okay. Because when you feel that it's peculiar to you, it's going to lead you into something else. The reason or the difference between you and someone else is because you've not spoken up. So if you speak up and then you hear from someone else and then you find out that you're not alone. So it is okay not to be okay. That's one. Two. Okay. All right. It is okay sometimes to not answer that call. Most times we want to just answer our calls all the time. You want to do everything all the time.
You're on top of the game.
You're on top of the game. It builds a whole lot of tension on you. So sometimes just have a phone-free day sometimes. It might not be a whole day, but for a period of time, switch off your phone. Yeah, you will not die. And take a moment to rest.
That will take discipline.
Yeah, it will take a whole lot of discipline. And in 2005, there was a research that was carried out in Harvard, and it was discovered that depression rate rose by 65% with the advent of smartphones. Maybe if time permits later on, might not be. Yeah,
you're coming back.
About
sure.
That. Yeah.
Sure.
So, because of a whole lot of things that it had cost people, something that is supposed to be a blessing to us is now drifting us apart. You're in your house, the husband is pressing his phone, the wife comes in pressing hers, the children are in their room doing theirs as well, and everybody is updating status, and then you're giving yourself one word answer. How was work today? Fine. Yeah, you did that fine. Fine. Are you there? You come. You're there. Everybody is just giving one word answer, and then there is a looming loneliness in the midst of multitude. And everybody is going through what he's going through alone. And somehow, sometimes mere speaking up is therapeutic. When you speak up, it reduces the level of the build-up pressure that you have in you.
Wow.
And those are the things, that you can do.
I'm sure someone is actually yearning to get across to you online. So can you roll out your social media handles?
All my social media handles are Kunle Pelemo, except on Instagram, that is at Pelemo Kunle.
Okay.
So on every other
Facebook,
Twitter, LinkedIn, Kunle Pelemo. Yeah,
okay.
Just reach out to me.
Wow.
I'm open.
This is a full package. Thank you so much. And yes, you're coming back, right?
Aye, definitely.
This is awesome. Thank you very much, Kunle Pelemo. Indeed, I've my note is full and overflowing, so I have so much to catch up, after the show. And dear listener, yes, you've heard him. What more can I say? Just go online and search for Kunle Pelemo. Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, and Instagram. That is at
Pelemo Kunle. Yeah.
Pelemo Kunle. Thank you. And DJ Magic, thank you for adding color to today's episode. I wish you well, dear listener. I am Segilola.